the last passenger. She stayed on the train past the final stop, and now she can't get off. It started with a scream. Not hers, at least, not yet. Lila boarded the subway at 3:18 a.m., headphones in, hoodie up, exhausted from another late-night shift. The platform had been deserted, and she hadn't thought much of it. This was the last train downtown. Barely anyone rode it. When the doors slid shut behind her, she noticed the car was empty, except for one man. He sat at the far end, face obscured by shadows, posture unnaturally stiff. He didn't move. He didn't blink. He didn't even seem to breathe. But Lila shrugged it off. Creepy people existed. This was New York. The train rumbled forward, lights flickering overhead in brief, buzzing spasms. Then came the first stop. Nobody boarded. Nobody exited. The man didn't move. Lila glanced at the digital clock above the door, 3:33 a.m. Weird, she had only just boarded. Had she dozed off? At the next stop, the lights dimmed again. Still, the man didn't move. The doors opened. No one came in. And the train kept going. She felt it then, that cold prickle of instinct creeping down her spine. Something was wrong. The train wasn't slowing between stations anymore. It was just gliding endlessly. Lila reached for her phone. No signal. No Wi-Fi. No time on the lock screen. Just a black screen that refused to wake. She stood up. The man at the far end slowly tilted his head, just slightly. Like he had been watching her all along, and was finally acknowledging it. She sat back down. The lights flickered again, longer this time. When they returned, the man was standing. Closer. Lila's pulse quickened. She looked toward the door, but it wouldn't budge. She hit the emergency button, nothing. Panic clawed its way up her throat. "Sir?" She called out, her voice shaking. "Do you know what's going on?" He didn't answer. Instead, he walked forward. No footsteps. No sound at all. His face came into view, blank, gray, with sunken, lidless eyes. His mouth moved, barely a whisper. "You shouldn't have stayed on." Suddenly, he was gone. Vanished into thin air, like he'd never been there. Lila sprang up and ran to the door, pounding on the glass. "Let me out. This isn't funny." The train didn't stop. It didn't even slow. Station after station passed, too fast to be real. And through the window, the world was no longer city lights or tunnels. It was darkness. Endless, swirling darkness. Like the train had left reality altogether. She turned, and found the car was now full. Not with people. With shadows. Silhouettes slumped in every seat. Heads bowed. Faces hidden. But every one of them turned toward her in perfect unison. Their mouths opened, releasing a low, guttural moan that rose into a deafening chorus of torment. Lila screamed. She backed into the farthest corner, eyes wide with horror, and suddenly, Everything stopped. Silence. Stillness. The car was empty again. Except now, she was the one sitting in the last seat. Her face was pale. Her eyes vacant. Frozen in a silent scream. Now, they say if you ride the last train at 3:33 a.m., you might glimpse her reflection in the window. A girl's face, pale and desperate. Mouth moving without sound. Begging to be let out. But don't make eye contact. Don't speak. And whatever you do, don't stay past the final stop. The last passenger. She stayed on the train past the final stop, and now she can't get off.